Oh, look.
Hey guys,
That's it.
dude, I got my G skate too, just like you guys.
Yeah.
Oh, you got the memo.
So welcome back to Airwaves. It's produced again by Boardshop.co.uk. I'm Matt, and I'm incredibly stoked to be joined by one of my favourite surfers, one third of maybe the best trio of brothers in the surf world, arguably, and all round absolute warlord as well. Dane Gudauskas, I believe I pronounced that right as well. So, how you doing,
Nailed
Dane?
it.
That's a lot of practice.
Yeah. Takes a little bit of getting used to, that's for sure. So
For sure, for sure. So how's things? How's things in Cali?
it's good. It's just been beautiful. The South Swell's finally decided to start showing up, and it's been nonstop. There's been waves, and it looks like all next week we'll have great waves. Um, I know pretty much all the way anywhere in the southern hemisphere is getting action. I'm not sure if it's coming all the way up to you guys or what you guys are experiencing, but for us, we're really excited about it. You know, having grown up at Lowers, it's open season down there, so
Right.
we're excited.
So is that your local? Is that your go-to?
Just having grown up there, it's so consistent. Have you surfed
Mhm.
it?
No,
Have
I
you?
wish. I wish.
Well, one day you got to treat yourself because it's a real experience. I mean, it's chaos because the crowd is so intense and so there's so many people, but honestly, the wave's so freaking rippable, and you could
Yeah.
just, close your eyes and shoot anywhere on the wave and just do the craziest stuff you've maybe ever done. So I really like that wave.
It looks like an incredible wave, and it looks like that type of wave where if you could get it empty, you would never ever want to surf anywhere else.
That's the
Like you're not
secret.
getting it.
It's hard to get it empty. That's for sure.
Yeah. Maybe we should bleep out the fact that we're calling it lowers just to keep it a bit secret because some people might not have heard it. You
Yeah,
know?
it is people don't like to get it too on the radar.
Yeah.
Just
So with
those
that,
people
with
down here.
that, that kind of dives perfectly into, so with this swell on the forecast, what will be in your quiver? Or like what boards will you be looking to using?
I mean, honestly, I mean, having worked on the G skate for the last year, pretty thoroughly with my brothers, it's hard to get off it now because we just got it to this point of refinement that we're really excited about. So it's like you go through that whole process, and once you finally get the pieces right, it's really exciting, and it's hard for me to get off of it. So I mean, I'd ride my G skate no matter what size it is at Lowers. I also have a CI Pro, but it's kind of like the next step of it. So it's called the 2 Pro. Um, and that board is pretty dicey and fun too. But I don't know, it's just kind of, if I'm feeling like getting that extra shortboard feel, I'll go for that. But most days I'm on the G skate.
Yeah, yeah. That the two pro, that's the one that is currently doing pretty well in the stab in the dark with
Yeah,
Italy.
I mean, you watched that last episode?
Yeah, 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 yeah. He looked
Yeah,
pretty spicy on it.
yeah, he was throwing tail all over the place. It got me all fired up. That's what I pulled it out of the garage and started waxing it up right away. I hit the
Yeah,
boys up.
out there.
Lost Italo. I gotta go get it.
We're going to take off on some closeouts.
I mean, those waves look dumpy. I mean, I don't know. Italo surfing seems to suit it perfectly. I don't know if I
Yeah,
would translate as well, but um, there is some. I mean, it's fun riding those extremely rockered out shortboards on occasion where you kind of get to tap back into like kind of what that era of surfing, in the early 2000s may have, those guys were translating through their turns, and there's a bit of novelty in it. I don't know. Do you guys ride
yeah.
those over there kind of popping off, or?
Yeah, when like you can do when you get the 1 day a year that is decent, but no, we're quite close to Europe, so I've just come back from a trip to Portugal, from South Portugal, and you get that more cuppy kind of powerful wave where you get on a board like that where the rocker fits into the wave and you can flare off of it a little bit more, for sure. So definitely got its space, especially in Europe, and Scotland's got space for it, and Cornwall on the occasion as well. So for sure, for sure. So you mentioned the G skate, and obviously yourself and your two brothers have worked really heavily on that. I kind of wanted to ask you a little bit about the legacy of, obviously, like the Rocket 9 was the start, and then the Rocket Wide, which
Yeah.
is an incredible board for England, like one of our real good success stories over the last few years. And then obviously now to the G skate, which has landed and gone mad over the last month, as such, and super fun. Were like, could you talk to me a little bit about the legacy of designing that and how that works with the three of you?
Yeah, I guess from the beginning, the Rocket 9 was a really exciting chapter in my life. I had started, going on trips that were a bit more open-minded in terms of who, it was not the traditional just go thruster ride and shortboard smash and bash kind of thing. And I was on a boat trip and spending times with guys like Dave Rostovich and just watching how he was surfing. And he was surfing these twin trailer kind of things, and even just taking him out, his trailer fin out, and surfing as a twin fin, and surfing it hard and heavy in a way that I was not really exposed to surfing like that before on, that kind of style of board. So I was like, man, I came back from that trip just kind of inspired to kind of explore the twin trailer combo, or even just the twin. That one is kind of like this. The Rocket 9 had a wide point really far forward and pulled in the tail block. So it's kind of like a little bit of a tribute to like the 70s boards, like the pipe shoes, but kind of squished down for a little bit more performance. And it seemed to work really well with kind of like the surface area on those wide, kind of upright twin trailer combos. And the Rocket 9 name came off like a Sun Ra song called like the Rocket number 9. And like, I don't know if you ever listened to jazz music, but Sun Ra is just super open-minded, like to the cosmos. And I just wanted to open myself up to new feelings and new lines and new interpretations.
Yes.
I felt like that really was a good connection with his help with the name there. And so that board was fun, but it proved to be a little bit too far in terms of the maybe avant-garde area where it wasn't accessible for a lot of people to find the benefits of the board. So in California, having it be a little bit mushy all the time, most of the time, I guess, we wanted to really kind of lower the rocket profile and maybe kind of just simplify the outline a little bit. So we cut 2 inches off the tail block of a Rocket 9, 1 inch off the nose, and kind of, I worked with Mike Andrews, who's an amazing shaper at Channel Islands. And it turned into Rocket Wide. Basically, it says it right there in the name. It's just a wider version of the outline. And that thing, the moment we stood on it and just looked at it from on the wall, we said, wow, it was so beautiful. It's one of the most beautiful outlines I think I've still ever seen. And so I just get so excited on that board and riding it in Spine Tech, kind of like how you have on the wall. I don't know, it was just so accessible, and we learned seeing the success of it. Part of being a part of Channel Island Surfboards, for my brothers and I, especially at this time in our lives, is like how to create tools or think about ideas that can give people the freedom to go have fun, go surf, and try our best. I mean, we're not, every time we come up with something, it's not going to work for everyone, but our mindset is to try and provide people the opportunity to go out there and have a good time, go get out there and explore themselves, create places where they can get creative. So that's our mindset every time we try and make a board. And so that's kind of what brought us together for the G Skate. Obviously, I love finding inspiration from older things. Skateboard decks was where this one kind of came from. I was looking through a book of old skateboard decks, and I was talking to my brothers, and I was like, man, this looks so bitchin'. Like, look at this cool outline. It just looked like it wanted to fit in the curvature of a wave and just trim down and just unlock that speed. And so that's what really turned us on to it. And so we worked really hard with Britt, and it was difficult, I will say, because we were collaborating for the very first time. And we each had, different expectations about what we wanted out of a board model, especially with your name on it, and being released out there to the public. So, the boys coming from the CT background, obviously really strong power-based surfing and high performance. it was just interesting to collaborate. And it was challenging to collaborate, but I really appreciated the process looking back on it, because you never know how many times you get to experience something like that, working with your brothers and really testing each other and challenging each other to be open-minded about the concept and come to a kind of a common goal. So that's kind
Yeah,
of how it all stemmed together.
that's sick. That's so cool. And was it like rock, paper, scissors? Like for if one person wanted to make a decision, like, oh, no, kidding.
Well,
But
we were pretty much, if one person was critical on it, we'd take a couple steps back and say, hey, where are we at with this thing? You know, like
yeah,
it was like if someone was like, hey, this thing's, you know, not going the direction I want it to, then we just said, okay, let's freaking. So I'm sure Britt and the crew at CI was pulling their hair out at certain points because we were pretty harsh on it, you know, but you got to be.
you got to be. So how long is that process kind of start to finish roughly from the idea to, you know, the model where you go, Brett, we've nailed it.
Yeah, I think about a year and a half.
Yeah, that's it. That's really cool.
And
Yeah,
it really came to the very end, you know, it was to the very finish line of making it right. I remember we had this 3 batches of boards of just varying widths, subtleties of the widths. And we all got together at Huntington Beach in the morning and surfed, and it was really foggy and kind of gutter out low tide lines, and it was flying. And all of a sudden we said, holy crap, boys, we found the one. Patrick was going nuts on this thing. We took it right to lowers and smashed it. And we were so stoked. Brent Powers was there with CI. Sean Lesh was filming the whole thing. And, you know, at that point we said, you know, it's on. We got the one, we made the scans, scaling it, testing all the scans and the scales, and then it was off to the races. So
that's it. And then was it after that that you took like the final product and then went to Hawaii and got like there's the video of like Ema Kalani the Bolt going absolutely stupid on one, and I think
he was just getting nasty with that thing, wasn't he?
yeah, and I think even I think it's Pat. I'm pretty sure it's Pat. He's going on some bombs, like some serious on that golden kind of looking one. I was just like, geez, like some big stuff. So that was like after you was happy with it, after you nailed it at Huntington, you then took it to Hawaii and then blew some more minds.
Yeah, so that was pretty close after. I mean, the boards we took to Hawaii were really some of the first official boards with the correct logos. And yeah, I mean, right off the press. And so it was really fresh at that point. And maybe you've heard we had some conversations prior about those boards being shaped for us. There were 6 boards. We each had 2 in each colorway, and we were just handing them out to people. And you know how everyone has their own particular, you know, dimensions that they like, but this was like, hey guys, this is all we have, and let's give it a crack. And for a lot of different body types and approaches, like Mikey Febs is very tall. Imai is kind of a stockier, super strong power base guy. Reef Hazelwood, yeah, the whole crew, and we were all riding the same exact boards. It was really fascinating, you know. And the waves were cracking, and we were just like, well, the forecast is pretty big. Imai's actually got some clip surfing sunset on it, and so does Patrick. In the movie, yeah, like the last turns that Imai is doing, like in the very last section, if you watch, those 2 waves are actually from Sunset, which if you surf Sunset, you understand it. It's a unique canvas, the way the angle of the wave face is, and there's so much juice in it. And for him to be surfing it that way was just mind blowing.
Yeah, everyone uses sunsets like get your bigger board out there, get your kind of more length, get that rail line, and then obviously the G shape's kind of like a bit shrunk, and he was fully flaring. Yeah, that's amazing. That's super cool. And like, is there like a point where, well, so what I wanted to ask actually is because I think it's something that a lot of shapers struggle with, but who came up with the name G-Skate?
I guess we were just throwing it started out because Britt was kind of just writing the name on the file of the board, and you know, obviously it came from a skateboard originally concept, and then, you know, with the 3 of us, so it just the more we said it, it just started rolling off our tongue. We were just
Okay,
laughing.
cool.
Cheesecake out.
So I feel like sometimes that's the hardest part is like you've got a board and you've got a profile and you're like, well, what do we call it, kind of thing. But it goes perfectly as well.
It's got a good roll to it, and it was so amazing. Like the team at Channel Islands was just like, hey guys, like come up with the marketing, the creatives, and everything. So we got a chance to make this logo here with a great design team. You know, get the colors selected to match everything, and so we were a big part of the merchandising, and it was just amazing experience to learn that side of the business and that side of like the board development as well. And big kudos to Channel Islands, Devin Howard, for providing his insights. And you know, we just feel so grateful that they, you know, had that level of confidence in our decision making. And so it was just a really exciting experience, you know.
I actually spoke with Devin recently. He's on an Airwaves, and he said something about like his marketing strategy and where all his background is. It comes from being able to be a storyteller with what you're given, and even just the name G-Skate creates a story, and then the outline of the board. I think the outline is really throwbacky, which leads to like obviously back to a skateboard from, because the skateboard in the magazine or or that you'd seen was like a Dogtown skateboard, is that right? Like a
it was a Dogtown skateboard, and I guess you're right. I mean, there's a bit of nostalgia, which is, you know, can be good and could be bad, but it brings you back to some feeling that you want to kind of correlate to. And you know, this outline is super interesting because it does have a bit of a straighter profile here. It's not like just a full teardrop pulled back in. And I feel like if you did you get a chance to watch that video of Tom Carroll surfing it in Australia with the onboard?
in Australia with the other guy. Got the other guy's name, but yes, I have.
Yeah, it was just a real treat to see everyone's different interpretations of the profile, but I don't know, it's fun. I really love those old things and finding inspiration from the past and seeing how it applies to the future and how we can interpret it through our lens and through our own experiences. So yeah, I do find value from looking to the past and kind of applying it to where we are now.
For sure, it's it. Like everything comes from it. Like we said about the CI Pro, that's probably come from a model from like late 90s, 2000s, and then been tweaked and refined to be a modern success now as well. Moving slightly on from the G Skate and from those boards, there was something that happened that I have always wanted to ask you about, because I guess it's a little bit out of your comfort zone, especially after the comps, was your time surfing in Alaska. Because that looked super cool, and that kind of looks like super relatable to us because, you know, we every winter wear hood, gloves, boots, like 6 mil neoprene. So how was that for you?
Oh, it was a real pleasant experience. It was we had the chance. My wife Anna, she loves surfing cold places, and she had been on that boat prior. It's the Milo up in Alaska there, and she came back from her trip the previous year and said, "Oh, you got to come with us next time." So we got the chance to go up there, her and some friends and myself, and it was great. You know, Captain Mike, he's just a super soulful surfer. You know, it's a very odd thing to be up there in the Aleutian chain or in the Shumagon Islands kind of areas, and you're in the middle of, you know, desolation, and these islands are so big and raw. It kind of reminded me of old Hawaii, what Hawaii might have looked like. And it was kind of you know, at the end of summer, so it was still a little bit green. It wasn't too cold, you know, there wasn't a lot of snow anywhere, and you were just alone. And here was this surf frother, you know, you're on this boat and his mission is to get you on the waves, and it's just mind-blowing, you know, rolling around all these little nooks and crannies. And we came across this one left that had never been surfed, and just, you know, those experiences when you're alone with people you care about, hooting them into waves, and a brand new wave destination. It was awesome. And I was on a triplane hull single fin, which is one of Devin's things, and it was just great. You know, it was carefree and just beautiful. There were some amazing birds flying overhead, and the ocean was quite chilly, which is kind of a thrilling experience. As you guys know, like a good rain freeze always makes you feel in the moment. So it was great. You know, I love cold places. You know, they provide an interesting challenge.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think like that it opens your mind? Like, do you think it changes like the the perspective of what you've, well, I mean, guess what you've got and what you get to go and do and stuff, but also in a way enjoy that you actually get to go and surf cold water and like a different feeling.
Oh, I love it. It's so funny because, you know, I got the chance to go travel to some really cold locations quite a while back with Chris Burkhardt and his crew, and get exposure to these interesting locations where there was very few surfers, and you get the chance to surf alone a lot of the time. So that was a real big draw for me. I had never really spent much time in the snow growing up, so it was a whole new experience, and I really loved it. You know, I just loved it. It was almost like the more cold, the more windy, the more raw. Like I was just like, it was just intoxicating for me.
Yeah.
I really just thrived in it. But people that I speak to who live in those conditions are like, man, if you lived here year round, you'd
Yeah.
probably have a mindset about it. So I understand that philosophy 100%. So I'm just happy to pop in and feel a little bit of the juice and then slide back out. But you know, this great place.
Was that the trip where that famous picture of you where you've got icicles hanging off your face comes from?
Yeah, that's in Michigan in the Great Lakes. Yeah.
Yeah. Was that the same? Yeah, that the same trip?
That was different because it was funny. We were going on all these really cold places and saltwater trips, and it was like, how can you share that with people? How can you bring people who are viewing this image or this video? How can you show how cold it is? You know, because a lot of times you kind of can't relate. Really, you're just like, oh, you got a little cold red face, and you can tell it's cold out, but you can't tell how cold. But I was like, man, I saw some photos on Facebook of these guys with, you know, ice on their face. And I said, wow, that's a way to really share that experience with people, to show like it's freaking freezing. And so we got a chance to do it. And I went with my good friend, Ben Weiland, and we were just laughing our butts off, dude. We were out there surfing and it was so cold, and we surfed for like 4 hours. And every time you come under a duck dive, you come up and there'd be more ice on your face and shoulder pads. And I mean, you guys might experience some stuff like that in the UK. Do you, I'm sure there's a little bit of frost on at least the eyelashes or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you get, so we're South UK, so we get it a little bit warmer than, but up in Scotland and the northeast, definitely like it gets seriously cold, like North Sea kind of cold. But surfing like this winter, surfing in the snow. The worst thing for me is after you surf and you're trying to take your boots off, your thumbs stop working. It feels like they go back into your hand, and you're trying to push your boots up and they just don't come off, and you just is. But it is. I do like surfing in the cold. I actually quite like all of it comes with it, putting the hood on, the gloves on the. But then I also love surfing in boardies. you can't complain, especially how easy it is in boardies. But that's big. I mean, it was a trip that I had a lot of interest in, and I've always kind of wanted to just ask a few questions about how that was. Obviously, especially for,
The
yeah,
Milo boat is amazing. It's such an experience, and he goes all up and down Alaska. There's a lot of waves over there. It's I mean, it's if you go by boat, you have a lot of opportunity to access them. And with Mike's
yeah,
knowledge, he's got a great team around him, and it was just a fantastic experience. I think you'd really enjoy it.
that's sick.
It's
So
Alaska Surf Guides. If anyone's out there trying to look them up.
yeah, okay, yeah, that'd be sick. Yeah, and like I need to do I need to do a road trip where I start at Lowers and then end up in Alaska.
Yeah, you take a little time and enjoy it. Yeah.
That would be fun. Talking about teams, the other thing that I've noticed is I'm up there with the world's biggest surf geeks, and yourself personally, I've noticed over the last few years, especially, you ride some other alternative boards other than CI, which I think is really cool. Like I've seen you on a Ryan Birch fish, which looks incredible. And over the winter, I think you was on like an Owl Chapman in Hawaii. So I wanted to ask you, because I asked Devon Howard if he could have any surfer join the CI team who wasn't on CI, who would it be? And I kind of wanted to ask you if you could, don't worry about your brothers, but if you could make a board in collaboration, so you, Britt, and one other shaper, who would you choose and why?
Oh, wow.
Which I know I've caught you off guard for that. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'll start off by saying it's, I appreciate all the freedom that Channel Islands has let me play with in terms of just understanding different board designs and philosophies of board designs, and just speaking freely with people and hearing their opinions and how they shape and why they shape in certain ways. And I'm always looking at it through an open-minded lens, and I really try to not go on boards that step on Channel Islands toes. They're usually very outside of the box, and I think that helps bring a new point of view to when you're trying to shape something like this. So I think there's a lot of great value in it. But yeah, it's so much fun. There's some really interesting shapers. I mean, I guess past and present, I was really interested in Tom Blake's designs. Bob Simmons has got some really interesting shapes. I think that the mini Simmons is really interesting shape. I would maybe that.
That would be sick. Yeah.
Just there's something fascinating about water flow, and I don't know. I'd be curious to see what would be the outcome. I don't know what it would look like, but there's something interesting there. I mean, I love so many shapers, and there's so many from the past and present, but
absolutely. Yeah, and there's so many that's why shaping is so cool and surfing is so amazing as well, is because you've got so many avenues of, and this is why obviously CI are so good and Brit's so good, because there's certain shapers that are great in their lane, and then there's certain shapers that what I spoke to Devon about was how Almeric and now Brit is the same, is how they're almost like sponge-like. They'll take on all the information, they'll work with people. Like Devon was saying how himself and Britt have been working with Wayne Rich for this longboard that they're going to be releasing, and they work together and learn and constantly learn, and that must just be something that creates you to be a great shaper because of that, because you have that open-mindedness, and I think it's right that he gives you that freedom, because ultimately that goes back to him anyway. That goes back to his knowledge of you feeding that back to him, and then creating designs and becoming a even better shaper than he already is. So I think it's cool.
Well,
talking about things that I think are cool, something that I think is incredible, and I won't keep you too much longer because it's pumping and it's your morning, but I did want to talk to you about the positive vibe warriors, because what you do with your brothers is like, I know quite a bit about it. Like, I've read it up and I've followed you for it, and I think it's incredible. So I just wanted to have a little chat to you about just to go over what you've achieved so far, and potentially kind of like outline what your goals for it coming up are, and to continue to do the incredible work you've done.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that. It's been a really fun journey. It's basically just been a way for us to connect with communities around the world and support youth water safety programs. I think after we were doing the board drives and starting in Jamaica and going down to Africa and South Africa and to Trinidad and Tobago, and those were just incredible life experiences, getting to connect and see the power of surfing and seeing the power of the ocean and surf therapy and all these amazing programs and minds in the communities that are helping foster the connection with their youth to have an outlet, and for us to have a role with providing the equipment was really meaningful to that experience. Since the pandemic and travel being a little bit difficult to do at that time, we really kind of transferred our energy into supporting youth water safety programs more locally and junior guide programs more locally within the United States. So we're focusing on that right now. We just did a collaboration. We make softboards too, Positive Board softboards, and those are for sale online and at some key accounts. And those boards, we did a big collab with Juju Surf and Mikey February and his wife Zelty. So we just sent down 40 softboards to his organization that he'll distribute out through Africa. So it's fun. It's a little bit more tailored now than it was. It was those beginning experiences were just such incredible moments. We were just understanding the value of social media, the reach of it, how to connect with people. And it was just incredible to see the outpouring support from people all around the world who wanted to donate their boards, their personal equipment to be a part of it. So yeah, it just leaves you feeling grateful to be a part of the surfing community. There's always room for more giving out there, and there's a lot of great people out there doing the work in the communities, and we just feel grateful to be able to support them any way we can. So that's just our role, I guess.
Yeah, it's incredible what you do, and like you said about the social media, some of the things that I've seen that you must have experienced firsthand, where you're handing these people boards that they would never probably ever even imagine they would have that chance, and that's come from someone who's probably had that board in a garage and not used it. So it's such a great circle of, you know, reusing something that's been designed to be used and giving it to someone who never thought they'd have that chance, and you know, and back. It's such an incredible cause, and I think it's amazing. And you know, if you could do anything to make the world a better place, then you should be doing it. So I think it's sick. So I just wanted to touch
I
on it.
appreciate that. Yeah, you know, it's a lot of fun. We feel grateful to be a part of the surfing community. You know, it's a global thing, and it's also a local thing. You know, sharing that stuff.
Yeah.
You can share a board, you can share a wave, you can just say, hey, how's it going? Just ask a question, check in on your friends, just see how everyone's doing. You know, we're all part of it and we're all in it together. So it doesn't have to be the biggest feat in the world to be a very meaningful interaction. So just always, I always encourage people to remember that, you know.
Yeah, for sure. I completely agree. Like your one little action, you throw a shacker at someone, you say hello, you ask someone how they are. In your life that might be tiny, and in their life that could be huge. You never know what's going on, do you? So I think that's completely true. And like I say, any good is good as such. So hey Dan, I'm gonna wrap that there, because it's such a pleasure to have your time. And honestly, I could probably talk to you for like 4 hours, but that'd be a bad waste of your time. So thank you so much.
Guys. I really appreciate
thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate your time, and yeah, can't wait to see what more you do with your surfing and with your boards, and hopefully the UK turns on a little bit so I could get this puppy out, because
yeah, let us know how it goes. Keep in touch, and you know, for any of your audience out there, feel free to reach out to us on social media. We're always around. Message us if you got questions about the board, you got questions about the dimensions. You know, we're here for you guys to really be a resource for making that decision, because we appreciate you guys going out there being passionate about surfing, and we just want to see you guys out there having fun, whether it's on this board or whatever board you choose. Just remember, it's all for fun, and yeah, we're just stoked.
So stoked. Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure, and yeah, we'll keep in touch. Have a cracking day, and I hope the swell turns up for you.
Thanks, me too.
Cheers, buddy. Thanks so much.